Ethan's legs burned as he ran, his breath sharp and ragged in the frigid night air. Olivia was right beside him, her fingers gripping his wrist as they tore through the graveyard, dodging between leaning tombstones and broken statues. Behind them, the guttural groans of something ancient and hungry echoed, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The mist thickened, clawing at their skin like unseen fingers, and Ethan could barely see more than a few feet ahead. He had no idea where they were going, only that stopping meant death. Or worse. Where? Where are we going? He gasped. Olivia didn't answer. She yanked him forward, her grip tightening like a vice. The whispers returned, seeping through the mist like 1,000 voices layered over each other. Ethan, stay with us. You belong here. The air shifted, growing heavier. Ethan's vision blurred, his mind clouded by the weight of something unseen. His legs faltered. He stumbled. Olivia turned sharply, her eyes wide with urgency. Ethan, don't listen to them. Keep moving. She shook him hard, her voice slicing through the fog in his mind. It was enough. He forced himself to focus, pushing forward. The whispers hissed in frustration, the mist curling away from them like wounded things. And then, a building loomed ahead, its structure half buried in the fog. A church. The same church Ethan had fled from before, but something was different. The stained glass windows, once shattered and lifeless, now pulsed with an eerie red glow, like veins filled with molten light. We need to get inside, Olivia shouted, dragging him toward the towering wooden doors. Ethan hesitated. Are you insane? I barely got out of there last time. There's no time. The ground behind them cracked open, graves splitting wide, skeletal hands clawing from the depths. The thing that had risen from the earth, tall, grotesque, its face a swirling void of shadows, let out a terrible, echoing wail. The mist recoiled in waves, swirling violently around its form. It was coming. Ethan cursed and ran for the church doors. Together, he and Olivia shoved them open, stumbling inside. The moment they crossed the threshold, the sounds of the village vanished. No whispers, no howling wind, just silence. But not safety. The interior of the church was wrong. Where before it had been covered in dust and cobwebs, now the pews were filled. Figures sat in silent rows, their heads bowed, hands clasped together in unnatural stillness. None of them moved, none of them breathed. Their skin was gray, lifeless. Their mouths were sewn shut with black thread. At the front of the church, where the pulpit should have been, stood the priest thing. It smiled. Welcome back, Ethan. Ethan's body locked up. His muscles screamed to run, but his feet were rooted to the floor. The figures in the pews twitched. You left before we could finish our sermon, the priest thing continued, stepping forward, its long fingers flexing. But don't worry, we saved you a seat. A row of pews near the front sat empty, waiting. Olivia pulled Ethan back, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan, we have to get out of here. The doors behind them slammed shut. The sewn-mouthed congregation turned their heads in unison. Their eyes, sunken black pits, locked onto Ethan and Olivia. The priest thing's smile widened, stretching impossibly far. Shall we begin? The lanterns overhead flickered. Then, all at once, the congregation stood. The whispering returned, no longer in his mind, but filling the room. A deafening chorus of muffled voices, each one forced through sealed lips. Pray. Repent. Stay with us. The figures moved, their motions jerky, unnatural. Some twitched as if their bodies were fighting against invisible restraints. Others moved too smoothly, as though guided by unseen strings. Ethan took a step back. Olivia did the same. Move, she hissed, grabbing his arm and pulling him toward the altar. Why that way? He shouted, panic rising. Because the only way out is forward. They ran. The congregation lunged. Hands, some rotting, some skeletal, some eerily normal, grasped at their clothes, their arms, their hair. Ethan tore free, nearly tripping as they reached the altar. The priest thing lifted its arms and the room shifted. The walls pulsed as if they were alive, the stained glass windows bleeding streams of crimson light. The air felt thick, too thick, like they were breathing in something viscous and wrong. You are not leaving, Ethan, the priest thing hissed. You are ours. A deep, shuddering groan came from beneath the church. The floor cracked. Something beneath them stirred. Olivia grabbed a rusted candelabra from the altar and swung it at the priest thing. The metal struck true, slamming into its face. Its smile faltered, twisting into something angry. Now! She screamed. Ethan didn't hesitate. He sprinted past the pulpit toward a door at the back of the church. It looked ancient, its wood warped with age, its handle rusted, but it was their only chance. He reached for it, a hand wrapped around his ankle, cold, inhuman. Ethan fell forward, hitting the stone floor hard. His vision blurred, his ears rang, he struggled, kicking wildly at the thing dragging him back. Olivia appeared above him, slamming the candelabra down again. The grip loosened. Ethan scrambled up, gripping the door handle, twisting. It wouldn't budge. No, no, no. The priest thing was rising again, its head snapping back into place. The congregation was closing in, their whispers reaching a fevered pitch. Pray, repent, stay. Olivia threw her weight against the door. It groaned but didn't open. Ethan joined her, shoving with everything he had left. The priest thing's smile returned. You cannot leave. The floor cracked open. From the abyss below, hands, hundreds of them, reached out, grasping, clawing for flesh. The door burst open. Light, blinding, pure, flooded the room. Ethan and Olivia fell through, tumbling into the unknown as the whispers turned to screams. Then, silence.